Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video and thanks for joining me. So I get a lot of questions and comments about how do I keep my aquarium so clean and why don't I suffer with algae. I thought I'd cover this in a topic today. So it shouldn't be any surprise, but like everybody else, I do suffer with algae in my tanks. So I thought I'd try and cover today, try and help you out for those who struggle with algae, how I keep on top of it and how to try and prevent it as best we can. So if this is something you're interested in, then please stay tuned. Without further ado, let's crack on with today's video. Hey YouTube, welcome back. So like I said, in today's video we're going to be covering how to combat algae and how to stay on top of it. So if this is something you're interested in, these are the sort of videos that I put out. I put out videos every Sunday if you're new to this channel. So if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, I'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when I upload future videos. And if you're a regular to this channel, then please show your support by giving me that thumbs up and like this video. So as an example of how I combat the algae, I'm going to have a look at the 20-gallon tank with you today, which is the Nano community tank that we set up about 3-4 weeks ago. So obviously it was a new setup, a completely new scape, and we added a completely new stocking into the tank, and we haven't yet gone back and taken a look at how that's gone on. So we'll do that a little bit today, as well as obviously look at the algae issues. But like I said in my last couple of videos, I've been trying to get a room tour video out. Unfortunately, I've had a bit of a nightmare of a week. I come down with a cold and I've got this sort of weird rash on my hands, which apparently is from dechlorinated water, which is great news when you own so many aquariums and paludariums, and I've always got my hands in the water. So I haven't been doing the regular routines on my aquariums like I normally would. I've just been doing simple water changes. And what I mean by that is I haven't been doing any gravel vacuuming, any plant trimming. I've been trying to keep my hands out of the water as much as possible. So obviously there's been some issues with algae in this tank because I haven't been able to stay on top of it due to my weird condition. And if I know any more about that, I'll let you know in future videos. As well as that, Bert unfortunately, I spotted a little bump on his head. It's like a little nodule of, I don't know, it looks like a horn growing out of his head, which I think I know what it is, and I booked him in for an appointment with the vets. I don't think it's anything to be seriously concerned about, but obviously I just want to get him checked out and make sure it is what I think it is. And I won't go too much into that in today's video. I'll go into that in a future video with you, but I'm hoping he's going to be okay. But as I said, I'll keep you up to date on how that's going. So if you see me in today's video with some blue rubber gloves on in the fish tanks, I'm trying to protect my hands from this issue, so that is why. So now that you're up to date, let's crack on with tackling this tank. Okay, so like I said, we're going to take a look at the 20-gallon Nano aquarium today, which is the one behind me. Also, we completely rescaped the tank, like I said, and we added new stockings. So we added some Harlequin Rospora and some Celestial Pearl Danios or Galaxy Rospora. They're doing really, really well. We also added a Sparkling Pearl Gourami in there. Unfortunately, that's the only loss I've had at this tank. For some reason, the other day I found her dead at the bottom of the tank. It doesn't seem to be any reason as to why. There's obviously is, but I don't really know what that is. But everything else is doing really well. We've got some cherry shrimp in there as well, which are actually produced babies already, which is nice to know that the tank is healthy enough for them to reproduce. And we'll take a look at that a little bit later on. But as you can see, there's some algae issues. We've got some diatoms at the bottom. The plants are growing in really well, and we've got the spike moss, which is growing out of control. Also, we'll get that done today and get that trimmed back. We'll try and clean out the diatoms, get some of the algae under control, do a general water change, and we'll see how it looks at the end. But I've got some unboxings to do before I do that, just to help us with this job today. So we'll get that done now, and then we'll crack on with the tank. Okay, so we've got some decent shears now to deal with the moss. So I'm gonna just drop the tank level a little bit. I've got my gloves on, which are taped up. We'll just make a start now. Okay, so excuse the light behind me, obviously the lid's open. Now we've lowered the tank. I think that's low enough now. We want to try and combat the moss. So we're going to trim that back in a minute, but just so you can see a little bit better, we'll clean the glass down first. Then we'll use the new shears we've bought to trim down the moss. I'll try and keep as much as I can, and if there's any spots then we can re-add some using super glue, I'll do that, but we'll see how it looks once we've done it. Okay, so now you can see into the tank a little bit better, and we've done quite a bit of work on it already. I think it's time to start trimming the moss now, which is going to be quite a big job, and I'll rejoin you once we've done that. So it's a little bit hard to see in this clip, but there's a sponge on the intake of the canister filter just to prevent any of the shrimp and any of the fish being sucked up into the filter. So I'm just going to remove that now, and we'll clean it and we'll add it back on. So I don't know what you guys think, but I've taken a step back and had a look at this tank, and I quite like the look of it half empty. I don't know whether we should set up a tank like this in the future. Perhaps it'd be a good idea for a paludarium? I don't know, what do you guys think? Okay, so we're pretty much done on this tank. All we need to do now is add the dechlorinator to the water, and we need to refill the tank, and then I'll rejoin you after that. Hey and welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed that video and you took something from it. So like you've seen, I suffer the same algae problems as you guys do, especially on a new setup when you're trying to get used to dialing it in. So what I mean by that is obviously adding the right amount of fertilizer in and how often you do that, the right amount of lighting, the right amount of water changes, and making sure that you find that perfect routine to stay on top of these things. I haven't quite got there yet, but like you've seen, if I stay on top of it, I'll eventually get there. So as you've seen, there was some sort of brown algae on the glass. We had some diatoms on the bottom, which we managed to get rid of. We've managed to clean some of the rocks up a little bit, and there was some green and brown algae on some of the Anubias leaves, which wasn't too much of an issue. Usually I don't mind a bit of algae on the rocks, but when it's a sort of brown, darkish algae, I don't think it looks that great. I don't mind a bit of green spot algae on the rocks. I think it makes it look a little bit more natural. In terms of the plants, obviously the Anubias at the back only had a little bit of algae, which is great because the leaves are so broad and you can manage to scrub it off rather than trim the plants. But to stay on top of this now, I'll carry on doing weekly water changes. I think I might lower the amount of time that the light is on for. So currently it's on for about 7 hours, I think it is. So I might go back to 6 hours and then gradually increase it as we go on. So I add fertilizer to this tank, which I use Flourish, the General Flourish fertilizer, which I'll add the link in the description if you want to go and check that out yourself. I do that roughly about twice a week, and I'll keep an eye on how the tank is going and see whether we need to add more or less. I try and make sure I do at least a once a week water change on this, because adding the fertilizer in, you need to then remove it at the end of the week to try and obviously balance the tank back out. If you have too much nutrients in the tank, then obviously that's when you're prone to get algae, as well as obviously too much light. But algae is a problem in the hobby, and I know a lot of people give up when they make a nice planted tank and then they get overwhelmed with algae, and it's easy to give up on it. It's quite an easy thing to stay on top of if you try and do it regularly. Once you see something in there, try and clean it out, vacuum it out, and do whatever you can to get rid of it. But I hope this video has helped you if you have been disheartened by these sort of issues in the past. I know I have been, and it's easy to want to give up and start again, but just by staying on top of it, you will eventually get there. So like you've seen in today's video, the fish are doing really well. Obviously we did lose the dwarf gourami, which was a shame. Whether we're going to replace it or not, I'm not quite sure. We added 10 cherry shrimp into this tank as well. It's good to see that the tank is healthy enough for them to start reproducing, and I'm seeing babies every day. Obviously they're helping combat some of the algae issues for me as well. Obviously I'm hoping now that they'll carry on reproducing and we can add some into additional tanks, which will help with other algae issues in any of the other tanks. In terms of the plants in the 20-gallon tank, the Bucephalandra needleleaf, which we added in if you've seen the original video. If you haven't seen the scape of this video, I'll add a link in the description below as well, so you can go and check that out. But we added some Bucephalandra needleleaf in there. There's out of 20 cut-ins, I'm only managed to have one survive, so I don't know why that is, but I just didn't have any luck with it. I'll probably look to add a bit more detail into this tank as it progresses, but I just want to try and dial it in for the time being. I was planning on removing the Monte Carlo out of this tank today and replacing it with some dwarf hairgrass, but as you've seen when I did the unboxing this morning, I had some Anubias turn up, which I thought was going to be the dwarf hairgrass. The Anubias is for another scape. I'm probably going to rescape the Ember Tetra and Blue Dream shrimp tank like I've talked about in the past. So that'll be coming up soon, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that video. On the topic of unboxing, so you've seen me unbox the Fluval clippers today. So this made the job a lot easier. I know it sounds a little bit stupid, but the scissors I've got when you're opening and closing them constantly underwater can be quite tiresome, as silly as that sounds. But this did make it a lot easier. They're not sponsoring me in any way, but I just wanted to let you know that these are available. I'll add the link in the description below if you want to go and pick some up yourself, but they did make the job of trimming the moss a lot easier. But if you're new to this channel, I really appreciate you showing me your support by hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you can see when I update any videos. But like I said, I update videos every Sunday. If you're not new to this channel and you're returning, then thanks for sticking with me. And if you don't mind hitting that like button to show YouTube that you enjoy this content, and it helps me make more videos like these. As always, I really appreciate your support, and thanks for watching my video today. I'll leave you some footage of this tank now, and I'll see you in the next video.